Sup, buddies? Sorry, I'm not following a script. I'm sorry for the lack of content lately. Just been tr- trucking along with, I guess you could say. I will get back to my Cold Winter Let's Play it eventually, but for now, I've just wanted to share something I learned yesterday. So one of my favorite hobbies is to just work on stuff for my own video game ideas. It's mostly consist of documents, but I also like to make concept art and more related to the topic, maps, which I just did yesterday, and I wanted to share something I found out recently. Now let's open a new thing. This is GIMP, by the way. Set it to here. Okay, first I learned this trick from another channel, and if he approves my request, I'll link him in the description, and I highly recommend you give him a watch because he's very talented. What am I doing? Oh my god, I'm just having a stroke. Let's make a new layer, call it terrain. We can turn the background off for now. Let's fill this up. Now we want to render solid noise. Make sure you set it to like the midpoint, and for this trick I like to make it like this. So for this we're going to make a world map for a fictional world we're creating for our game, or pretty much any other thing you need a world map for. Next we're going to go to colors. I learned this from him. As you can see, this does already resemble continents, although there's way too many of them right now. Yeah, this looks a bit better. Let's skinny them out so they're not all connected. So as I mentioned, there's a little too many of them for it to be like if you want to make a world that has like 550 different continents, this will work for you, but we want like just a few continents, so I found out a cool trick that you can do. So as you can see, this whole map, as I just said, this whole map doesn't look, but if we were to just isolate a certain section of it, let's see, which would make a good one. Sorry I'm taking so long. I really need to make scripts more frequently. If I were to isolate something like this, crop to selection. There, this looks more like a more reasonable world map. Although it is, admittedly, well, too small. Fortunately, we can scale that up. Yep, let's just... Now, you don't want to scale it too much, because that overpowers GIMP. There, this looks more reasonable to work with. Actually, I think we can scale it a bit more. Okay, let's not push our luck any further. So yeah, this looks pretty good. Got several different continents. However, if you zoom in, you will notice it's all blurry. That can make editing a bit better, a bit of a pain, because we need to get rid of this white stuff, this whiteness around here. Not that I want to be racist. Fortunately, we can fix this. I actually didn't know you could do this, but if we select this sharpen tool, this tool right here, and set it to sharpen, bingo, we can get rid of the blur. So let's not zoom out that much. Yeah, this'll do. Let's just take this brush around all these continents and rub it around them and to get that blur away. Admittedly, I'm probably never going to actually adapt any of my video game ideas to actual video games, because fricking programming alone is a nightmare. And it gave me PTSD, and I'm afraid to do it again. I've been making progress on Blender, though. I got a whole nother video planned for the issues with Unity tutorials. That's a video for another day, though. And we're almost done. Pretty nice, isn't it? For some continents. And there we go. Admittedly, this does probably make it look a bit more pixelated than it needs to be, but it's just a small price to pay. It does lead to some nice world maps. So now we can click on the select tool and select this, and now we can select all the white and select cut. Now our continents are isolated. There are still a few bits of white here and there, and as well as in these areas. If you do get white in these areas, you can use the select tool on them, or I like to do this. You can select the bucket fill tool, select the color erase mode, and just do that. You can go around and individually remove all these if you want. I'm kind of lazy right now, and we got some other stuff to cover, so we'll do that some other time. So yeah, now we have a decent looking map. However, you might want to, you know how our worlds have like lots of tiny little islands? So we want to add some more islands here. You don't have to do this, of course, but this is just an option if you need some more islands. So how do we do this? It's simple. We're going to make a new layer called Islands. And we're going to do what we did before. We're just going to make another... Whoops, it's still set to color erase. Let's fix that. We'll toggle this off for a second. We'll just do what we did again. We'll do the solid noise. Let's set it to lots of these. Make sure it's set to that. Then we'll turn on threshold. And let's squeeze it down. So if we turn on terrain, now we have tons of little islands. This might be too many islands for your taste. And if that's the case, you could always just... Actually, first we should... Actually, since we didn't scale the image, we don't have to worry about running the brush over it again. And we can just select the white right away and cut it away. There we go. So as I was saying, if there are too many islands for your taste, you can always just take an eraser and get rid of the ones you don't want. And since this is on a different layer, you don't have to worry about erasing the continents. I didn't do this with my map because I actually like the number of islands it gave me, but you may have different thoughts. Okay, we'll just go with this for now. Now, if you're making a world map, you'll likely want to change the color of the continents. This can be a bit annoying because if you just attempt to use the colorize tool right away, it doesn't affect them because they're pure black. You have to turn the lightness up first. Yeah, this is kind of an annoying part, but we can get work with it. After we colorize it once, I think it'll let us colorize it again, and we can select green. That's a good map color. And I just noticed this island's kind of in the way of that one. I don't like the islands that touch the continents themselves. So we'll do a bit of a cleanup detail right here. Okay, that looks good. All right. Let's turn the terrain off for... Well, actually, we don't have to turn the terrain off. Now we do the same for the islands. First we do this, then it'll let us colorize them. For some reason, it might be because it was a different lightness, but... And I just noticed there's another one. Christ, I'm such an idiot. Okay, there we go. So now we've got our continents a good color. Now here's the main trick I learned. I like to make borders for like the different countries and stuff. Now, drawing borders yourself can be kind of difficult because you want it to look good, and it can also be hard to determine where you want the borders to be and how to make them look like realistic borders with how they're all curvy and stuff. Well, I found out another trick on how to do this. First, we need to make 2 new layers. First, we're going to make a template layer and make them both above the terrain. And this is going to be the reference layer. Okay, so for our template layer, we're going to do what we did again and make the solid noise layer that we used to create our continents. Make it however you wish. We'll do this and make sure it's around the midpoint. Now go to threshold. This should be good. Now we're not going to use this layer itself, actually. We're going to select either the white or the black parts. As you can see, it doesn't select all of them, so you can add more to the selection if you need. Now we're going to make this layer invisible. And as you may have noticed, depending on how well this thing came out, you may notice that it forms actually pretty decent borders. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. There are some places where the borders aren't completely enclosed because it's, well, not meant to be like used for this, but this is a good way to do it, and you could always make a different one if you aren't satisfied with the layers. So when you do have layers you're satisfied with, we select the reference layer, and then we go up here to edit, and I like to set the color to this to red. Then we go to stroke selection. This might take some time. You may want to save your progress before you do anything, because there's a slight chance GIMP may crash if you do this, although it hasn't done that for me yet. And if we select none, you can see we now have the borders. These things are now marked. But of course, we don't want all of this to be here. We only want to use the specific parts we want. So for that, we're going to make another new layer. You don't want to edit the terrain and island stuff directly in case you don't like your outcome. So always add a new layer for the stuff you want to add. And so this is going to be the borders layer. And how I like to do this, so I like to select one of the borders that I want to work with. Select a color and a paintbrush. Scale it down. You certainly don't want it that big. Yeah, this will do. And then you color in the lines where you want the border to be. We don't need that squiggly up there. As you can see, some of these lines have lots of little holes in them, so this might not be the best tactic, but it works very well for me, so that's why I wanted to share it. Jeez, another hole. Almost done. I'm sure someone else found out this tactic, and if they... I just haven't found them. If someone else did find this, I credit this to them. Okay, and once you've got that, the border where you want it, you select none. And now you select the part you colored in. I said select the whole part you colored in. Thank you. Now we turn this off. We go to the borders menu. We change the color to what you want your color of your borders to be. And you go up here and select fill selection outline. You don't want to do stroke because it might leave gaps in between the two sets of lines. And now and there! We have a realistic looking border. So yeah, this could be like its own country, and you can keep doing this as much as you want with all the other ones. So we could color this one in, we could potentially color this one in. Yeah, and if the borders aren't really where you need them to be, you can always just make another template layer like this one and just make it different. You can click on... Actually, let's delete this since we don't need it right now. Make another new layer, another template layer. Do our thing. Go to solid noise. If it keeps happening to give you like a same-ish pattern, you can just click here and it generates different seeds. It makes it more random. We'll go with this one. We'll see how this goes. So yeah, this one could like create some countries down here and stuff. But we don't need any more of those for this tutorial right now. I also want to say this thing works good for like making rivers and lakes too. Because for example, this right here, these little circles that they leave on the map could serve as good lakes and stuff. And instead of borders, you could just use these lines for the rivers. Yeah, for that, I like to make another new layer. It's called Rivers, Lakes. And for these little we just select... You should be on the reference layer first. So just select these. Let's see, are there any others? Yep. And then we go down to the rivers layer. And let's choose a color for the water. And select Fill Selections Outlines. If we turn this off, now we have little lakes everywhere. And as I mentioned, we can use this for rivers too. So let's select this. Sorry if I'm spoon feeding, if I'm like being too condescending or whatever the term is. Just wanted to get the point across. And let's just say the river ends there. And then do the... Oh, wait, I should change it to the right color first. And then change it to the right color. And there's a river. And since it's under the borders layer, if there are borders, we can still... Those will still be in place. Though ideally you want the borders to be run along the rivers, so we could just... Ideally... select this. Oh, darn it, I keep doing... You know how they make borders along, like, rivers and stuff, for ease. So we could just do this. Yeah, so you could just select this and put a lake on... I said select the blue thing, idiot. Might help if I change it to the right color. And then you can do this and then put a river there. And then you could, if you wanted to branch out, you could make new templates and reference layers that connect to it. And then, bada boom, there you go. So yeah, that's what I found out yesterday. And I just wanted to share it here, both for my reference in case I forget it, because I'm a forgetful klutz, and to share it with anyone else who's interested in making maps. So yeah, this is pretty fun, actually. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and I hope you guys have a good day, and until then, hopefully I'll get some more game videos out, or some content out there. So until then, I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.